Someone started the washing machine. I can hear it. I hear the washing machine. I'll be right back. Do what you love, and the suffering will follow. So pick up your art daily and follow Christ. Basically, your art is your cross, right? So when we do art, we should not be doing our art for art's sake, but for Christ's sake. You know, the narrative filmmaker has an interesting journey. It's not like your typical thing you're trying to do. Like, you know, usually with, you know, in a capitalistic sort of like consumer world, you come up with an idea, a concept, and you bring it to market. And, you know, you've made a widget, you know, but there's something different about filmmaking. You know, you can't say that this is the same thing as this. They're just different. And you can't even say that that is this. Just a shiny round disc, right? There's something different about it. So what is that? Well, the R&D process to come up with this compared to this is a lot different. I mean, for the most part, you make a spatula that feels good in the hand, doesn't melt in the pan. And if you can get it to the market, you've got a winner. On the other hand, creating a film that uplifts the soul and leaves it in a better place than where it was is a lot different R&D process than just this. I still say it's not so easy to make. But let's just set that aside for now and kind of look at, like, you know, even America cinema is different from like the European cinema. One, the American market is gigantor, right? And so there's a huge need for box office success. And that drives a lot of how it all works. Where it seems like in the European model, you know, whatever, there's a lot more artsy-fartsy kind of stuff going on. And the government is like sticking money in. And that's where we get these St. Francis films and all these other films that are happening over there too, right? So there's a different thing. But we got to be up for checks and balances too. Like if we're going to have the patron and the theologian and us, the artist, if we're all going to work together, there has to be checks and balances that we're totally good with, because they're just going to raise the bar. They're going to raise the bar on the whole production process, but in the final product. So now let's talk about one suffering, because there's lots of sufferings as an artist, right? All the different processes. But let's talk about the one that really gets us from the very beginning. The blank stare. You just need an idea. Something that, what am I going to do? I don't know what to do. Okay, this is totally relatable. But there is the blank stare, right? There's like, what am I going to do? Like, what as an artist am I going to do? And this is so important, like, in what we're trying to do here, right? You need a great idea. We all need great ideas. And they have to bring them to fruition. We're going to make them laugh. We're going to make them cry. They're going to scream. they're going to love every moment of it. So, but how do we get there? How do we get past the blank stare? But I tell you what, even saying in the very beginning, let's make something beautiful. That's the bar. Let's make something beautiful. That bar is not just like, let's make a ton of money. Let's make something beautiful. It's different, right? So let's go into the blank stare. Do you ever have the issue of like trying to be creative and you can't be, and then you don't need to be creative, and then you are, like you're in a spot where I don't even know I can't have nowhere to write. I don't have a pen. I don't have paper. And this is what you get constantly. Well, okay. Part of this is that twist and back and forth is really, it's kind of like a left brain and a right brain in balance. Like if you are too left brain, your idea is going to be more of a structured thing than an actual like creative whim. And then like you're not digging in, but your right brain is where all the creativity craziness comes from. I particularly am more like right brain. Like if that would be like my right brain. Of course, this looks like my left to you, but this is my right side. If my right brain was actually heavier, because it is heavier inside my head. So, but how do you do this? How do you do this? Someone started the washing machine. I can hear it. I hear the washing machine. I'll be right back. I'm sorry. They didn't start the washing machine. The washing machine was just automatically doing its thing. I'm sorry. Boy, do I feel like a big boob. Where should I go from here? I don't know. Well, I could just pick up where we were. But this is all getting kind of boring. And I mean, who's going to like go through all that? Who would endure that? I mean, you got to be in a blank stare to get through that. A good example of the left and the right side of the brain, breaking them and waking them work together is like a drummer. So a drummer's like, somehow in your drumming training, you somehow learn how to disconnect these two hands from each other, but then they're working together and they're crossing, they're doing all this kind of cool stuff. That's the same thing we got to do here, right? So you have to, but do it gently, because you want your right side of your brain, you don't want to like suppress it that same way. You can't just say, like in a Batman voice, give me a good idea. I'm not going to give you any ideas. Why not? I'm scared of you. Okay. So it can't happen that way, right? So you got to like coax, you coach, and you lead the right side of your brain to creative places. You may want to ask it questions. But one way to do it, if you're like in a blank stare and not knowing what to write, is start to write what you're thankful for. And you just can write, I'm thankful for this pen. I'm thankful for this piece of paper. I'm thankful that I know how to write. I'm thankful that I can breathe. I'm thankful that I can breathe. I'm thankful I can see. Write 25 thank yous. And thank God. You're not just thanking the nebulous whatever. You're thanking God. Thank God. God, thank you for this piece of paper. God, thank you for the gift of this pen. God, thank you for the ability to write. And then you will realize that there's like this joy, like, man, because by the time you get to the 25th gift, you're going to get beyond like silly things like paper and pen, even though those are really cool, because the Lord is in these finite details of just making sure you have a piece of paper. I mean, Does it get any more insignificant than that? But God is like in your life, working it in the paper. He's like, wants to give you paper. That's pretty incredible. So that can bring a lot of joy. And when that joy comes, there's a certain sense of confidence that comes too. But it's not like this confidence like, hey, I got a piece of paper, because that would be stupid, right? It's just a piece of paper. But it's like, no, the creator of the universe gave me a piece of paper and a pen, and he gave me, I can breathe. I've got all these incredible gifts that he's given me. This is incredible. Man, they're so good. Now you're in a place of thanksgiving, of confidence in God, the creator. And before you know it, then you just say, right at that point, now you've given God thanks. Now say, Lord, what do you want me to write about? What do you want me to write about? And try to write something and see what comes out. And then if nothing comes out, just write that. I don't know what to write about. I have no clue what I should be writing about right now. But God, you're so good because you've given me this paper. You've given me life itself that I'm able to sit here and write this. What a good God you are. Man, I wish I could tell a story about how good you are. Or I don't know where that's going to go. You find out. If that doesn't work, then open the Bible. The Bible? Are you serious? Yes, I'm serious. Open the Bible. I don't have a Bible here. But if I had a Bible, you could open it up. And let's say you pick a story. I think there's one. Is it Elisha or Elijah? I always get these guys mixed up. Anyways, there was one of them. Like they're standing there and he challenged just these pagan gods, priests to like a sacrificial shootout, so to speak. He's like, I'll tell you what, hundreds of pagans, priests, you call down your God and let's see if he lights up your sacrifice. And then I'll do it too. And so they're like, you remember this story? It's awesome. It's in the Old Testament. They're in the story and they're pagan. They're jumping around and putting gasoline on the fire, even though they didn't have gasoline back then. They were all driving electric cars. No, they put gasoline on the fire. Whatever, they're lighting it up, trying to light it, and nothing. And they're just going all day. And Elisha's just laughing at them. He's like, you guys are a bunch of, oh, why don't you try a little harder? Maybe if you're a little louder. What else you need? You want a match? Who did you? So then Elisha, he's got so much confidence, right? The kind of confidence you get from being thankful, from knowing that the creator of the universe has got your back. And he like pours water on his sacrifice. He douses it with water, all the wood, he soaks it. And then when it's like, there is nothing that could possibly come out of this, there's no way, that's when he calls down the Lord. He's like, Lord, you show them who you are. You show them how great you are. He wants God to get all the glory. And God, lightning bolt, soaks up, boom, the whole thing, and people go nuts. Right? So that story, you don't have to make a story about that happening in the wilderness or something, but there's so many like creative moments that you could pull from that. One, confidence, the confidence against this huge group. I mean, like over 100 pagan priests. You know, I'm sure the king was there and they probably were threatening him and all this stuff. Like, that's some serious pressure. But that confidence, and then faith. There's also a thing of faith going on there. Faith that God will not abandon. He will not abandon his servant. He's not going to abandon you. Or there's a story of like truth and the lie and being willing to call out the lie and expose it and tell the truth. All these different ideas, it's going to pop and hit you. And like I've said in other ones, you also got to bring it to prayer. You bring it to adoration. You really just give it to God and let him drive it. But then you gotta sit there and you write. You write. and you can just write something. And when you don't know what to write about, write that you don't know what to write about. Because there's a discipline involved with that. Filmmaking is less about lattes and more about a lot of discipline, right? You have to be disciplined, and sometimes you have to sit there and just do it. Suck it up, Sippy Cup. Put it on your calendar. If you're writing, put it on your calendar. And every Wednesday, I'm going to write for 30 minutes. That's what I'm going to do. If that's your deal, whatever it is that you're going to do, go for it. But you got to do it and be disciplined and let him show up. This is what I want you to write at the top of your page. Let's make something beautiful for God. That's the goal. That's what we want to do. This is beyond like, I'm going to make a blockbuster. I'm going to have an all-star cast and all this stuff. This is reaching beyond the stars. This is reaching for out of this world. It's reaching for eternal. What better goal than that? And when you raise your bar that high, you can only get better. You can only get better. So that's about it for today. And today, here's my challenge. Live today like you're in heaven. Treat everybody that you see like you're in heaven. Sometimes it's going to be easy. Sometimes it's going to be hard. But just for today, let's just live like we're in heaven. If you want to learn more about our 7-point process on this, you can watch the different shows we got. You can get into the little community where we dive deeper and talk about either your project and how to apply this to the next thing you're working on. See you next time.